Are we live?
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Shining Otaku. Here today with the Shining Spotlight interview with Nikolas Draper-Ivey. Today, to talk about his work with Dreamvesper and all of his accomplishments within the industry thus far. I'm definitely happy that you decided to join us today. And, let's talk a bit about Dreamvesper and talk a bit about your projects. Before you begin, though, I do want to say the whole purpose of this stream, or at least what we do with the Shining Spotlight streams, for those of you who may not be familiar with them, is to highlight creatives in the industry and basically be able to highlight a lot of their accomplishments, especially in the field of manga. So we're definitely happy to have Nick here today to talk a bit about that and talk a bit about his journey as a comics creator. So, Nick, of course, we all know that, or a lot of us know out there, a lot of your work that you've done, of course, with like Noir Caesar, with the Exo-Genesis. A lot of people know you by doing a lot of work on Instagram, like with like Star Wars, pieces and Disney. But I feel like not enough attention is drawn to your own personal work, Dreamvesper. How would you summarize that story for us? What you plan to accomplish with that?
You mean like the elevator pitch, or?
Yeah, basically, what do you feel as though Dreamvesper adds to the industry that we haven't seen before?
Well, the way I always pitch it is, what if every nightmare you ever had was meant to save your life? And that's kind of like how I, reel people in. And I think it's kind of funny because I'm working on it right now, and the irony is not lost on me that the story is, who is calling me right now? My dad is calling me right now.
For a minute, I thought that was like the real talk. I thought that was like the tagline for a minute that you were about to say for like the series, like, who's calling me right now?
No, but actually it's not lost on me. I knew I should turn my phone off. Somebody was telling me to turn my phone off, and I'll call it back later. It has some commentary on escapism, and I think it's very funny. I'm working on it right now in a time where I'm going to be kind of providing some form of escapism for people that have been waiting for, and he's still calling me on Messenger.
Hey, I mean, this is a time. I mean, to be fair, just so a lot of you guys, if you guys are watching this as a recording, this is during the time of the corona. Have your lights all ready, folks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense. But
yeah. Okay. Call you back.
Nah, yeah. I've been using so many Lysol wipes. I'm running out. So
yeah, it's not a game right now. But yeah, back to answering your question. I mean, honestly, I just, when I think about this story, it's not really, I don't know. I don't want to like try to say like, oh, it's super important and it's the most profound thing that's ever been written in literature, and I'm going to provide. No, it's something that I really want to see done. I mean, it's been swirling around in my head forever, and now I'm like able to sit down and like write it and draw it, really give it that attention that it needs. I think it's definitely going to have its own little spot in the industry, like its own, there'll be fans of it. There'll be people that'll probably like hate on it, obviously, but that's with anything. I'm not really concerned with that. I'm more concerned with who can I reach, because it talks about, people that deal with depression and, suicidal thoughts and just like not wanting to be in the situation that they're in, and, all those negative things. And that's kind of what these, spirits that the main character has to fight against, like that's kind of what they feed off of. And it's just kind of shedding some light on those things and helping people in that area. You know, there's some hint of, you know, talking about like mental issues or mental like illness or things that we kind of like sweep under the rug, and we think like, oh, you know, you don't really talk about it too much like that in manga and anime, let alone with like characters of color. Not to say that every situation that, you know, happens in there revolves around a character of color, but it's set in America. So there's people, you know what I mean?
Wait, so Dreamvesper is actually set in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, where do you have a particular city it's set in? Because I know, like, I've actually read the one shot, but I don't.
Yeah, the one
recall
shot was set wasn't really said where it was set. It was kind of like open to interpretation.
Okay.
But because I live in New York, and like there's easy reference. It's a lot of, you know, people that go through things here. Like, set it in New York, why not? You know, now obviously I'm pulling from other places that I've like lived, but it's a comic book, or well, I shouldn't say that. It's probably going to be a little bit more than that, but it's a series that's a fictional series, so I can do whatever I want with it. You know, but I mean, I shouldn't just say like, oh, it's just set in America. It's set everywhere. Like there's stuff that takes place in America, and there's stuff that probably takes place in other places, in other realities, and other dimensions, and all this other crazy shit. So,
Right.
Yeah. Hope I answered the question.
No, I think that more or less like answers it. But actually, it kind of brings up another question I have for you. So I noticed that you said that you are kind of drawing like inspiration, like for example, from like New York, right? But something that I, of course, found out, and we were talking a little bit about this, of course, shortly before we went live, is that you're actually from Detroit.
Yeah,
And which I thought was really interesting, to be honest with you. Especially being someone who's looked a lot of your work, and the fact that we're also from Detroit. So, in what ways, just for a lot of the Detroit creatives out there, would you say that Detroit has inspired you to create any works, or has it at all? And if it doesn't, don't be ashamed to say that it doesn't. I mean, that's fine, but
feeling of just red, like that looming feeling. If you're in Detroit, you understand this feeling. This feeling of just like, oh,
hey, man.
Like that's a real.
Reminded of that during tax season.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh yeah. I know you did.
The funny thing, I don't even like. I moved from there, so like my parents still live there. My family is still there. They tell me about things that go on in Detroit, but. Is that a yawn? I guess it is. Sorry. Growing up, because I should be very specific when I say this, because it's like I was born in Lansing, but both of my parents are from Detroit, and they just happened to be in Lansing when that happened, like when I was born. But all my memories are from Detroit. I think I moved right to Detroit after I was born. So I just claim Detroit because like my folks in Detroit, I don't know shit about Lansing. I was never raised in Lansing. I was raised in Detroit. I was around Detroit people. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I know.
You throwing shade to Lansing.
I don't care. I don't know anything about
That's all right. That's all right.
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about Lansing.
That one guy up in Lansing's like, all right, that's okay.
Like I don't know anything about that. I wasn't around, there. My memories are, memories of going to Belle Isle, which I heard is like they charge you to go to now. Like they have a state park fee, I think, or something you have to do now versus how it used to be back in the day, of course. Like I've heard about that. I remember going to Hart Plaza like during like the festivals, like the African festivals and all that kind of stuff. Like I have, those memories. And Cobo Hall apparently is not called Cobo Hall anymore, but everybody in Detroit still calls it Cobo Hall, even though it's not Cobo Hall. That's what my mom was telling me. So, I mean, there's so much I don't know. I need to go back and visit at some point. I have been planning to go back and visit Detroit at some point. But we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, we got well, actually, we have a couple comments that I haven't shown, or actually say a few
There are people.
shout outs. Shout out from
Yeah.
Royal City saying Diesel here. Another one from Che Baker, what's good? And then another one from OAW Entertainment, or Larry, as we know
Yep.
him, saying, "Whoa, you got Nico on here? Oh snap!"
Oh, what's good, man?
Well, he could be referring to either Nick Ivy, or he could be
No.
referring to you. You know, who
Yeah,
knows?
no, you never know. You know, we got two
I could
Nikos
always
over here.
say, yeah, I'm on here. No, I won't care. I don't-
That's the funny thing. It's like it could be either one, but but in any case, yeah, like I mean, honestly, that's really what makes you really relatable. The fact that you're actually from here, you know, like I feel like, you know, a lot of times, at least I don't know if you can relate to this, but you know, growing up, you know, at least in Detroit or you know, being around that community, you know, it's not like at least during like I would say like the early 2000s that everybody like liking manga or liking
Oh,
anime or anything like that was the cool thing to like.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I can relate to that. Yes, I can relate to that. Like it's all my childhood was. But let's not make this into a therapy session. Continue what you were saying.
Oh no, that's all. That's where I was kind of going with it. Is basically it wasn't the cool thing. Basically, is what people would perceive it. Although now everybody and their mama wants to act like.
Everyone was there. Everyone
You know.
was into it. Of
I've
course.
seen like actual like what was it like memes or posts that people will like share like little skits on the internet of like them doing stuff like that, like you know like showing back then in the past versus now. So I don't know, like the fact that you know you see for example yourself, you know what you've been accomplishing, where you've actually done the cover, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I think they should at least by now, that you did the cover for Black Panther,
Oh yeah.
the album cover. And just a fun fact, I don't know if you knew about this either. It's funny that the poster of Black Panther was like for the movie was done, or the concept at least was come up by Arvell Jones, and he's like a comic like legend in Detroit. And then you did the album cover for Black Panther. I've always thought that was kind of cool.
Detroit people. doing
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I did do that. I always forget. Like I don't want to say always forget, but it's like, man, that's not gonna leave me, is it? That's gonna be one of those things. We were like, hey, remember we did that cover that one time? Like, oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Huh.
So as far as with like your time with Noir Caesar working on Exo-Genesis, how did you feel
Oh man.
actually seeing it get picked up by D Art Studio and being animated? Because that's like the goal of a lot of black not just black creatives, but like just creatives in general. You know, like to see their work get animated.
I mean, I have so many mixed feelings about that. Damn it! It's because
But you didn't like it, or you? I mean, be honest. This is the chill hour. So if you didn't like it, I want you to be as raw as possible with us on this.
I mean,
it had a quite a departure from the source material in terms of tone, and I knew it. The fans knew it. And it was kind of like, is this going to be closer to the manga? Because if you look at the pilot, they're never going to show that pilot. But it, you know, I commend them for doing what they were able to do in the time. No, they had plenty of time. Hey, Zeno did the voice for Darius, and Zeno and I are cool, and we still talk to this day. He also did the voice for Hawks for My Hero Academia. Like he does a character in there. He was a cyborg. So he and I still like chop it up and still talk like to this day. And if nothing else, like that became a really great friendship. Now seeing it animated, it was definitely a humbling experience because it was kind of like, that's not how I would have imagined it.
So like break it down for me a little bit. Like what, because obviously a lot of us out there, and I don't know, Nico, do you have an image that you can throw up of like or Exo-Genesis just so people can see it, you know, if they're not familiar with it personally? But like what was really like Like, what did you feel was there in the pilot and what wasn't there? Because obviously most of us have never seen it. You know, if
Oh
we didn't
no.
go to the, I believe.
It the tone was very different from what the source material is. It was very bright as opposed to in the manga. It's not really that bright. It's not really that. They kind of Pokemoned it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this
They
isn't
Pokemon.
this isn't it, you know? Like it was like a kind of a Pokemon Neo Yokio kind of thing, and I'm like, this is definitely not what the tone of this is.
Oh, you're talking about like the later seasons of Pokemon, or like the most recent, the Sun and Moon. Are you talking about like the animation style with that, or
kind of that, but not the Pokemon that it basically it made it kind of kid appropriate is what I'm trying to say. And if you look at the manga, it's not kid appropriate. It's very graphic. It's
yeah, I've read
pretty dark, pretty kind of depressing. It's not really depressing, but it's
what's MMA, right? You know, if it's the MMA story, you know,
it's got a grittiness to it. It's got a dirtiness to it. You know, it's another story that's set in New York in the future. You know, so it's got this different, it's got a completely different feeling. That said, it was still cool to see like, oh wow, I drew something and someone animated it. It was still cool to see that, even if it wasn't exactly how I envisioned it. Needless to say, I remember getting so mad that I went home and taught myself how to animate. I was like, it's not how it's supposed to look like this. You know what I mean? And so who knows? The kind of stuff that I like. I think I'm too bougie too when it comes to animation. Like I'm so particular about the kind of animation that I like.
Madhouse.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that. Studio 4C,
Man.
really big Studio 4C fan. Studio Mappa. Like I like things like that. You know, Ergo Proxy. It's like Samurai Champloo, Ghost in the Shell, like the movie.
Oh yeah,
Ghost in the Shell. The 1995 movie I'm talking about, like stuff like
I know
that. I really, I'm really into. Cowboy Bebop, anything like the Animatrix, or I like things like that. And obviously that animation style wasn't that. I don't know if they had a budget or what, but it just wasn't. It wasn't what I like. But I think the hardest part about it was. No, at the same time, the love from the fans is what really shocked me. Is like fans were so, they understood that this is not how I wanted it to be, and they kind of came up to me towards the end of it and were like, "Hey, congrats anyway for this, and hopefully the animation will actually be closer to, your work." And it was interesting to see how understanding the fan base was. They weren't just like, "Oh, Nico fucking sucks," because they recognize it's not what I would have done with it, but they were still happy that it got to that point. So that was cool. Now, granted, the people at D-Art were never really like bad. I think it's just the lack of communication and some stuff. And if they had just asked me certain things, it probably could have been a little bit different. I remember being very specific about what to look at when they were doing the animation. I was like, "Hey, when you do this, look at Children of Men, look at Blade Runner, look at Akira, like the Ghost in the Shell movie, look at iRobot, look at." I was like listing off the movies that they should look at, and stuff they should watch. Creed, with Michael B. and the Ryan Coogler from the Watch the Creed.
yeah.
Just get that kind of tone, that kind of like vibe right. And it was apparent that they did not do any of that. And they tried to like smooth it over with the audience. I know you guys want like a gritty kind of thing, but this is our kind of interpretation of it, and blah blah blah. And he said something that just made me so mad. He's like, yeah, stuff like Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner. We decided not to look at that and just take it in a different direction. And I just slowly turned my head like you just didn't listen to it. Like you know what I mean? Like the co-writer and artist is telling you, hey, if you want to get this right, this is what you gotta. We decided to take it in a completely different.
So Trey McIntosh also had involvement as well, with the creative direction, or
yeah, I think he had some involvement with I don't know how much involvement he had. He and I are so radically different that it's like it is a miracle that book finished at all. But it's I think he wrote something. He wrote something that he sent to them, and I don't know if they changed it or what or how involved he was. But I think he just kind of just shut out a lot of people at Noir to just make this pilot. But I remember what he wrote was a little bit more interesting than what got. It was just like, why didn't you guys just go with this, or why didn't you? There's so many things, so many shoulda, coulda, wouldas about that. But it's in the past now, and don't worry about it.
Learning lessons.
I think it'll still be. I think it'll still get animated, but by like a different studio this time. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but they got the rights. They got the rights back to do their own thing. Now, whether or not there'll be an Exo-Genesis anime or when that's gonna happen, I couldn't tell you. So don't go on there saying like, "Oh man, Nico confirmed they're gonna make an Exo anime." That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't know when or what they're planning to do. Like I'm sure they'll want to have me involved, obviously. But right now I'm like doing my own thing. Like I'm like I really want to do my own shit. There was some projects I was supposed to be working on, but then I'm still going to work on these other projects. But with the virus going on, everything is kind of on hold. So all I can do is work on my shit, which is what I'm doing right now, actually. But
I'm glad your fan base is knew your heart and feelings in the matter of what you really wanted for the series, because I know a lot of people could agree with us with the whole Bleach thing. You probably would have had like some confirmation from Kubo. Basically like, oh yeah, man, this wasn't what I wanted at all.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Don't get me started with that. But, how that all turned out. Like I feel like Bleach got its snipped or whatever, and then finally now they're gonna give it some time. But
respect that you guys, everyone's wanted. I heard that the anime is coming back for that, isn't it? Like they're finishing.
Oh yeah, it is coming back. I forget which studio is actually supposed to be animating it. I know they've done like some kind of Pokemon OVA before, and they've done some other movies. So hopefully they keep that same level of quality. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Just to double back on something, just so the audience sees it. This is the an image from Exo-Genesis.
Yeah.
And we had a few comments come in actually.
Oh yeah, but let's move to those comments, and then of course I want to double back to Dreamvesper, which is the core of what I really want to talk about today.
Yeah, I see Imaginos TV. They're going to go ahead, roll in, check out the script meeting later. He says, great job. I'll check out the recording after this script meeting. Thanks.
Okay. Then we have Royal City asking a question straight to you, Nick.
Okay.
Do you plan on coming to any cons after COVID-19 in Detroit, or work with any Detroit artists and writers?
Ooh. I don't know. I don't know if go to any cons. I'm not a con person. Like, to be honest, I've tried Comic-Con, I've tried Anime NYC, and I'm just like, oh my God. I like, talking to fans and all that stuff, but I'm just not very, I'm not very social when it comes to, I can hold my own and I can, converse with people, but I'm so like to myself in my own little world. People have been asking me if I'm going to, make an appearance and, in Detroit, and I feel like I will at some point.
Give us some hometown love. Give us some hometown
yeah,
love.
I know.
I'm
I
just
kind of
messing with
have
you.
to. I kind of have to. And there's a project. There is a project that I am about to work on, but I can't say what it is. That I should come back home. I should come back home. I should show you guys some love. So I'm just kind of like, if I don't come back and I don't show that love, it's gonna be like, how dare you go and do this and then not actually, come show us, some love and support. So it's like I do need to. I'm gonna stop talking about any of that because I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
That was good enough. I love teasers.
Yeah. All I want to ask, you can refuse to answer, which is fine. If you do, I want is it in animation or is it in comics? That's all I want to know. You can't.
I'm not going to say what it is.
Okay.
That's a bit huge. That is a bit huge.
I'm like, I'm not going to say jack shit because I don't want to risk getting in trouble.
Okay, that's fine. I get it. I get it.
No, I can't even. I feel like even what I've said, they're probably like,
why did you even say there was anything?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, but I mean, who knows what project I'm talking about? Because there could be some stuff my dad wants me to do that involves coming to Detroit too. So there's a bunch of things that involve Detroit that I should, come there and say what's up. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of things that my dad has been hitting me up about, like with music and oh, you gotta get your brand out. You have a lot of people that support your work in Detroit, and you should come do this art show, or you should do this exhibit or that exhibit, or you should, and it's pretty. I don't know. Someone invited me to some convention or something like that, but this virus is, like I said, throwing a wrench in everything.
Yeah,
like everything has been. So I don't know. I want to pay Detroit a visit simply because it's where I'm from. But it's there's so many things that I don't know how I would handle it. Like I know people are like, well, maybe you can get an Airbnb, or maybe you could stay with your family or this and that. But this other thing too is like, it's not like New York where I'm moving, stuff to taking stuff to the Javits Center. You know what I mean? This is me moving a whole bunch of, whether it's prints or books or whatever the fuck it is, to whatever convention in Detroit and doing all that and going back and forth. There's a lot of stress involved with it, but eventually I'll figure something out and shut the fuck up and actually just do it. Because I know that you guys are worth it. Like my dad's been telling me a lot about, like, there's people that know about you here, and I'm like, oh yeah, and he's like, yeah, you got like some fans out here, man. You gotta show some love. I'm like, all right, I will eventually.
Dude, I'm getting there.
I'm getting there. Like my thing is, I'm just trying to like survive. You know what I mean? And just trying to like get things, get the ball rolling. Another thing about me when it comes to Dreamvesper, my own projects and everything, I see a lot of people rushing to get out there, and the quality of work is not at its best had they stayed at home and just kind of like refined it a bit more. And me, one of my biggest strengths and weaknesses is I'm a perfectionist. I'm so like, no, it's not time for it to be released yet. Everyone's like, are you gonna be? I'm like, no, I can't release it. I have to fix this, fix that. They're like, well, just drop something. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I can't drop something. Like it has to be, how I see it. Otherwise you end up with something that you're not really proud of, and nobody likes that.
Oh man, I am so familiar with that.
Well, yeah, I know you are.
What happened? What did you go through?
Oh, yeah, the both of us have gone through actually. Well, as an editor, I've gone through many people's works, and there are deadlines to be made, and things that have to be done to get it out there to promote it / make money and all that whatnot. But there's a few series. For me personally, I'm like, if I had more time, I would invest in that. I would not I've had to have make some harsh decisions where I'm like, I had to just let it go as it was.
That's where we kind of clash, I think, a little bit. Because sometimes I'm like, I think it's good enough to get it out. He's like, no, you're not gonna put it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, putting it out
Oh, yeah.
because it's time to be put out. You know, that's in various different things. But so I can, you know, it's funny. Like I can actually identify with you on the other aspect too, of like being a perfectionist. Because I think there are things that I'm like that with, but then I also think about too, like if you don't throw something out, you know, then if you constantly focus on being a perfectionist and you never throw something out, then no
Yeah,
one's
you
ever
never
going to see what you
finish.
want.
You never finish anything. And that to a certain extent, that's true. At the same time, it's always like, look, I know what I'm doing. I know if I put this out now, I'm gonna hate it. And some people are just kind of like okay with that. Like, well, no, as long as you finish it, then you should be fine. Like, you should just finish it. And it's like, no, I don't think that's true for everything. Some stuff, it's you better fucking spend some time on it and actually make it good, and it'll show. If you just rush something out because you're being pressured to rush something out, you're gonna look back on it and yeah, you'll be done, but you're not gonna be happy with it. You're just not. Um, and of course, you move on to like the next thing, and then you try to perfect it there. But Dreamvesper has been like one of those projects that's been on the back burner for so long. It's in my head to the point where I'm like, okay, I know this story, this way, that way, I know what to put and what not to put. And now I'm just writing it and fine tuning it to the point where I'll be happy with it. I'll tell you right now, the version I'm doing now is way darker than the one shot. Like, if you're going in and thinking, oh, this will be like the one shot, it'll be like, no, it's a lot closer to how it was originally intended to be. The reason that I made it lighter in the one shot was because I was going to submit that to like the jump contest like years ago. But
Actually, not to cut you off, but just so the audience can be aware, for those who like, if there's some people who haven't read the one shot specifically, like, would you can you like summarize the story of the one shot just so that people could be familiar and then kind of get a contrast between?
One shot just was a lot smaller scaled, obviously, but I mean it was like cramming all of the lore of like kind of Dreamvesper into one shot, into like 45, 50 pages or so. I can't remember how many pages it was. I think it was like 45 or something like that. It was like a limit. But the one shot centered just around like one girl. Oh man, this old artwork. I centered around like one person, and Lace wasn't even black at the time. Like Lace was like some kind of. Like,
oh yeah, we have him on the screen
right
now.
Yeah. But when I did that, it was a lot smaller scale in terms of storytelling, and it wasn't as graphic as this version will be. But people liked it, I guess, because it was like contained or whatever. But the one shot, it's like you can find it on my blog spot, you can find it on my Facebook. Like you gotta sift through.
We'll link it after the stream too, so people can check it out.
Yeah, it's I'm glad that I did that. But when I go back and look on it now, I can't. So many things I can't stand. I'm like, oh, why did I do it like this, or why didn't I like give this part more more pause, or why did I there's so many things. Like I've grown as a storyteller. I mean, a visual storyteller. I'm just like writing. I'm just like, I would have done this a little differently now. But at the same time, I don't want to completely shit on the thing that made it charming to people in the first place. So there's this thing where you don't want to shit on your day ones that have been like, oh, this is the shit I love. You know what I mean? And then, but you also want to show like, yeah, okay, but I've grown up a lot since then too, and this is what it's really gonna be like. I think people will understand it. People will be like, okay, I see what he's going for. You'll see hints of the one shot in the new version of this, He's like, oh, okay, this is what he really wanted to say, but he couldn't do it in that because that was like the one shot that he was limited.
No, I get what you're saying.
What kind of content he could put in there.
One
But
shots are like an appetizer.
yeah. But if you want to get the gist of the story, you can read the one shot. The one shot will definitely tell you like, oh, okay, this is the world of Dreamvesper. This is what it's about. Boom, 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 and then you get an idea for what you're in for. And then when you read this one, you're like, okay, I think I know what I'm in for. Oh my god, this is way darker than the one shot. Jesus Christ. So it's there's times where I was writing like just this is the prologue, and I'm like, this is
So is this currently, and we're actually gonna throw it on the screen, is this the most recent design of
No.
Lace for,
that's not the most recent design of him.
or would it be this one right here?
Yeah, that one is closer to that's
Okay.
close to what he's gonna look like in his dream form. And then the one that I did recently with like the green and red, that's like, yeah, that one. That's probably like the closest. I think I'm still toying around with his hair, with Lace's hair, like the conscious version of him at least. Simply because like I'm thinking about how it will translate, if it were animated, like how would I want to do it? Because I do like the hair being, out in the back, like in other versions of it. But I'm also kind of like, but animation. So that's why I'm doing like another drawing where he wears like a head wrap or something like that. But the cool thing is, they change clothes in this. Like they change their hair in these stories. They don't. It's very much like real life. They don't wear the same shit all the time.
I appreciate the mess out of that.
Yeah.
That's actually something. That's actually something I would say that with Ichiro Oda, for One Piece, I like how every so often Straw Hats, they kind of change their outfits a bit, and even like for the movies or every arc, even though they do have their iconic outfits, I guess more for marketing purposes, but still, they still wear something a little bit different. Sometimes you have
the same thing over and over again.
the same thing, like Goku wearing the same gi over and over.
He's worn that same
Orange
outfit
gi
forever. Yeah. So I mean, with this, I'll definitely be changing it up because I mean, it's going to take place on a college, an art college, no less. Like it's going to take place in an art school. So of course, they're going to dress a certain way. They're going to have their own little dressing styles. All the characters are going to look, like artists. Some people might be a little bit more unassuming than others. Some might be a little more eccentric. That's what you're going to see. But with Lace has to kind of have an unassuming vibe about him. So when he does go into like that dream form, the contrast is there. It's like, oh shit, that's what he actually, or how he, shows himself in that world, or how people perceive him. But that's kind of how he sees himself, so to speak.
So is it going to be something that's more of like an internal struggle, or
with who?
With more of Lace, with his like, are we going to see more of like him battling like his own inner demons within this dream world, or I mean, is it?
You could say that, but I mean, it's him helping. I mean, outside of helping other people with their issues too. Lace does have his own little story, like why he does. If you've read the one shot, then you know kind of why he's taken on that mantle. You know what I mean, or like who he's filling in for, so to speak. But and I'll say this: it's the thing that's different in this version of it, as opposed to the one shot, without like spoiling too much, is he's really not good at what he does. In the one shot, it's kind of like, oh, he just knows what to do. You know what I mean? Like he knows how to, help these people and save these people. And in this version of it, when you first meet him, there's all these people that are dying. Like left to right. Like, he's like just shy of saving them every single time, and he's not good at it. Like, there's people that, you know what I mean? You see it from his perspective. Like, I don't even. You'll see. You'll see.
He's a fuck up.
It's really.
I probably shouldn't have said that, but
I've had some people read over it, like read over like just how the plot, like how the prologue goes. They're just like, oh man, this is good. And I was really nervous. I'm like, oh god, how does this come off? And they're just like, okay, you know. So that's a good feeling, and I've shown it to my roommate, who's like he's a tough critic. Like he doesn't just hold your hand because you're, you know, his roommate or is like his friend. He's gonna tell you this is shit. He's gonna be like, this fucking sucks, you know. Like, so like
that's a good critique then.
Yeah, he's just like,
you don't want somebody to blow smoke up here.
No, that is not. That's definitely not Nate. Like, he will like look at me like, so why are they doing this? Like, he'll, you know, fucking like cinema sins that shit to, like, just like, okay, all right, I guess, you know. But it's to keep you on your toes. I think the approach that I'm taking for it this time, people will like it, and it'll definitely be its own thing. I remember when I pitched it to like a friend of mine that's a producer, the way he like described or how he was able to kind of figure it out, he's like, oh, so this is like, even though I've never read the comics, he's like, so this is like Sandman meets Bleach. And at first, you know, during a pitch meeting, you can't really like get mad. I was kind of like, and I thought about it, and I'm like, I guess it is. I guess it is kind of like that. He's like, yeah, like early Bleach. I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I guess so. I was like, yeah, but it's like that's not bad. That's not a bad place to be to fall on. I'm like, I guess so. I guess it's not like that. I mean, it's not like a bad thing. I'm like, oh, it's, you know, but that's only because he has no point of reference. He's like that. I'm trying to find a way to market it. You know what I mean? Like, how do you market something like this? And then, you know, when I was writing it, it's a lot of the stuff that I'm really influenced by is stuff that you wouldn't even think. Like, there's a lot of Silence of the Lambs in terms of tone. Like, there's so much Silence of the Lambs in it. Like, Silence of the Lambs, The Exorcist 3. Oh man.
So would you say this is going more in like a horror manga route then? Like, are we going to see some Junji Ito type stuff?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It is.
I see.
Definitely. It is definitely on that. Like, 'cause there was times I was writing and I'm like, okay, Hereditary. This is fucking dark. But that's good because it was always intended to be dark. I just made it lighter in that one shot, you know, for the jump kind of appeal, but it was always intended to be a dark story. Like, yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Like, even though you were pitching it to let's say Jump in this case, right? Why didn't you pitch it as like, let's say, or want to pitch it as like a horror shonen type of story, if that makes any sense?
Because I think at that time I was still playing it safe, and I didn't know what I was allowed to get away with. I think there was certain rules to it as well. So I didn't go full on like seinen, you know, kind of like with it. I was like, let me just reel it back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Your line.
Yeah. Just to, cause I don't know what their tastes really are, and I don't know how. You know, I'm like, what am I allowed to get away with?
Now, are you still aiming to get to like basically get into like a Shonen Jump or anything like that nowadays, or no?
No, there's no need. Simply because like the advantage that we have is that we're American. Like, at first we think, oh, I gotta get in Japan, I gotta do it, I gotta fucking get it, oh man, I can't wait to draw this thing and be perfect. You don't have to really do that because we pressure ourselves and we think, oh, I gotta draw like this many pages a week and now do all this. Well, the thing is, they have assistants. They have assistants to help them crank that stuff out. You don't have to crank out 19, 20 pages a week. You don't have to do that. You know, Plus, you gotta think about like payment. You gotta think about like how much money you would make and all that. It's like you're better off trying to do it over here. Now, granted, make those connections and get in touch with like those editors and have those. It's better to have those people in your corner as like your friends and your like your cohorts or whoever you can talk to, as opposed to like working with them, if that makes sense. Like I've met a lot of people. I have a lot of friends that are Japanese mangaka that I've been blessed enough to know now, and it's still a sense of community, even if you're not under Jump or anything like that. You still can talk to them and still like everyone's still busy doing their thing, but you still it's a different energy. You know what I mean? You're all in this together, so to speak. You don't have to like, oh, I gotta publish under Jump. I used to want to do that, but as I get older, well, Dreamvesper is different because Dreamvesper was really intended to be a Square Enix title. Like it was always like Square Enix. Like I always saw it as a Square Enix thing. But now, if it were a game, it would definitely be under the Square Enix Platinum Games kind of thing. That's kind of vibe. It's simply because of the tone of it. I don't think it would just be flat out Square. It would definitely be Platinum with Square. But that's a whole nother conversation.
That's right up. That's right up N's alley. Straight up. See. Yeah. I'm not really I'm not hating on Final Fantasy. I don't have a problem with it, but I've never had the privilege of growing up to play Final Fantasy.
Well, I mean, hey, in a few days you'll be able to play the 7 remake, and you can
that's if I get a PS4. And I've been playing PC all this time, and I know if Elite Ace is watching, he's probably laughing right now because he always laughs.
Rough.
But
that's rough. But I mean, all that being said, I remember just when I first came up with it, the DV, I was in the kitchen. I was like, this had to have been, was this like late middle school, early high school? It had to have been. That's how old Dreamvesper is, and it wasn't even called Dreamvesper. It was like Nightmare Boy or something, because it was like I love this idea of like a reverse Freddy Krueger kind of thing. Like even though it's a shonen seinen kind of manga vibe to it, it's really influenced by like a lot of horror. You know what I mean? Like a lot of like, but then you have like the stuff like Spawn and like Blade and all that kind of like the cool shit. People swinging around swords and Don't Make Cry and all this type of shit. But there are always these horror elements. Like there's always this really creepy feeling to it.
So if you had to cross Dreamvesper over with an existing franchise, let's say, just say hypothetically, Square Enix came to you and they said, hey, we want to do, I don't know, like a fighting game, of some sort, even though that's not something that we really see a lot from them. But, or actually, let's say it's going to be like a fighting game. And they ask you, which one of their properties do you think Dreamvesper would fit with? What would you pick?
Oh man, that's actually really tough. Because it's tough because it's I don't think I mean, the tone of it, I would definitely say something along the lines of Nier, but I don't know where in Nier that timeline would fall. Nier doesn't really touch too much on like streams like that. I don't know, but I could see Lace like somehow making a weird sort of cameo in like Dissidia or some shit like that. Or even, you could do World Ends with You.
You could.
It could work with World Ends with You. Actually, oh man, it could definitely work with World Ends with You. Like now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, probably something like that. Which in turn would probably lead it over into like the Kingdom Hearts territory, because that's always how I see it. It's like Dreamvesper. It's like Dreamvesper is Kingdom Hearts for adults. Like,
Oh yeah, you see the dude's weapon?
yeah, it's like it's Kingdom Hearts for adults. Like it's fucking, you know, that weird, you know, dreamlike, beautiful kind of
Like, look at that. That look like it's a fully
yeah.
ball keyblade looking thing. Yeah, it's like
So it's Square Enix as fuck. You know what I mean? It's this weapon is a fucking dream catcher sword thing. Like it's but if it were other game franchises, like um something like DMC would definitely be interesting. Like Devil May Cry would be interesting. Um there's so many ways to do it. Um but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
So let me ask you this then. When it comes to Dreamvesper, if let's say right now, in the perfect world, and for all I know, for all of us know, you know, this may already be in the works. This may be the project that you're hiding from us right now. If any like your favorite studio came up to you and said, "Hey, we want to animate
I hate you.
Dream
I hate you.
Dreamvesper," who do you want to do the opening for the show?
What do you mean
And
in terms
like
of
the in terms of the song, and
ooh.
yeah, who do you want to sing the song? So just like, you know, you have, of course, you know, for example, like for games, we all know in Kingdom Hearts, Utada Hikaru is known for
Yeah.
singing Kingdom Hearts.
That's really hard.
Who do you want to do the song? And then one more. Who do you want to voice act Lace?
Oh, Lace, that's easy. Like that's Rami Malek all day. Dude from Mr. Robot. If you've ever seen Mr. Robot season 1 or any of the seasons.
No, actually, I've never seen that.
If you look up, if you're on YouTube and you type in like Mr. Robot society speech or something like that, and you just hear his voice, like I'm like, that's Lace. That's exactly how I envision Lace sounding. He has this kind of like monotone, dry, you know, kind of voice. Like I'm like, that's exactly how I envision Lace. As for anime, like for music, that's really, really hard for me. There is a song I always listen to, like when I'm getting myself in the mood. There's a song by My First Story called Reviver that I really fucking love.
By Reviver?
Yeah, it's this song called Reviver by My First Story that I'm not gonna attempt to sing it. But I know the chorus is like,
oh, we want to hear the vocals. No, I'm just messing with
no.
you.
There's a part where like the chorus is like, I will stay alive, like praying for myself or something like that. But it's just like something about the way they say it. I'm just like, I can see this awesome intro in my head. But outside of that, it's tough. I'm not gonna pick one. So screw that. I'm gonna say a list of people. Hyde. I would definitely want Hyde to do some music. I would definitely want Maximum Hormone to do some music. I would definitely want My First Story to do some music. Who else? Evanescence for sure. Like, Evanescence is, oh my god, that's like Haunted. You know what I mean? Like that song, Haunted, Imaginary, even like some of the live performances. Like there's an Overture and like / Never like Go Back. Like that's if I could, I would have, you know, Amy Lee come in and fucking do an opening for that instead. Like I wouldn't even if I couldn't get access to like a Japanese group, I would probably just be like, yo, Evanescence, fucking just do this. Just do this. Just please.
Like just take this over.
Yeah. There's so many bands. And I think that's one of those things. I listen to so much music. So it's like to narrow it down to one, like that's tough. I like Miyavi too. Like Miyavi's really cool. Like it's really difficult. It's really difficult. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I always think that's something that I feel like as creatives we all like kind of mull over in our head, like how we see like our magnum opus or our projects going. I mean, I would probably say, I mean, I could be wrong, but it sounds like Dreamvesper is your magnum opus.
It's one of the big. It's really setting up. Well, I won't say setting up. My storyline is probably like the biggest one. because that's like the one. That's my my near automata, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like that's the story that like, oh man, this is what where it's all leading to. You know what I mean?
So are those stories connected in any kind of way, or no? They're completely separate.
No, they're definitely connected. All my stories are connected in some way, shape, or form. The Lion is like that one that I feel that I have to live a little bit more in order to tell it properly, if that makes sense. You know, I mean?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It's like the spirit is there. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I know what I really want to talk about, but I'm like, I need to live a little bit longer to tell this kind of story, because it delves a lot into like spirituality and like faith and, you know, battling with that, and, you know, it's obviously like it's got its own the supernatural, you know, cool flashy fights and all that icing and all that shit, but at its core it's really about like that relationship with like your parents and the relationship with God, and how you may not always see eye to eye on certain things, and just like dealing with that. You know what I mean? So I get
what you mean. Honestly, like that's one thing I have to say I respect about you, because a lot of times a lot of creatives out there, like I feel like in today's day and age, it's not, and not to get into this whole thing. I know some people will probably be upset, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. You know, when it comes to talking about, like, you know, as Christians, like our faith, I think a lot of times when people speak on it, it's kind of like frowned upon, or people have, you know, may say what they want to say about it or whatever. But, you know, it's good that you don't shy away from that, you know, from your faith. You tell it in your story, you tell it in your own way. You know, you talk about faith, you talk about, you know, all of that. And I think I just have to say I respect that.
I appreciate that, man, because it is scary. Because I don't want to come off as preachy. I kind of want to appeal to those people that are not so much the preachy type, but they do have some kind of, you know, relationship, and they are battling, and they kind of feel like, nobody gets it. You know, it's not that I don't like acknowledge God or respect God. I'm just conflicted. I'm angry. I don't understand why certain things are the way they are. You know, like it's just. It deals with that. It also deals with, like, you know, those generational like curses, or even like how your parents may have impressed this, you know, put this dogma on you, or how they you know, carry out their beliefs, how they treat other people based off their beliefs. You're like, no, wait a minute, I don't really believe like that. I don't really see it that way. You know, am I wrong? You know, and almost, I don't want to go too much into that, but that story, it definitely harps on those kind of things, and that's why I'm like, I need to live a little bit more before I can tell that. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I get it.
Like, okay, this is where I'm at right now. I can still, you know, I can have some wiggle room, you know, to kind of explore different things. The Lion is like, I got to make sure that I'm ready for that. Yeah.
Oh no, I understand. So I know we only have a few minutes left. You know, kind of burned up a lot of time.
In fact, before we go on, I do kind of want to address some of the comments rolling in. Thank you everybody for commenting in the comments section. I know we missed Royal City's comment when he mentioned it during the Exo-Genesis, when he was asking basically what would you have done differently with the plot. And I'm sorry I don't have too much time to really address that here. If you want to quickly touch on it.
Hold on. Hold on, let Nick speak real quick. What were we gonna say?
If he wants to quickly speak on it, go ahead.
Oh man, if you're talking about the manga, this is spoilers, but if you're talking about the manga, I would have had Darius like outright lose, like because the thing was towards the end of it, because I remember Johnny and I were like fighting about it. I was like, no, it doesn't seem realistic that he should win. Like he shouldn't, because originally it was going to be like, oh, and he just wins, And I was like, that's shitty storytelling. Like he needs to, like, you don't just win a situation like this. This is not like your typical show. Like, I'm gonna train really hard and I'm gonna go into this ring. I'm gonna win the fight. I'm like, that's not how this works. You don't think the other guy wasn't training really hard? You know, this big hulking motherfucker didn't just train.
Right. Exactly.
So I was like, if he must win, he's going to win by the skin of his teeth. Like, I told this to John, I was like, I'm going to break him. And he's like, what is wrong with you? Because I was like, it would be so much more satisfying if he lost, if he got his shit rocked. And you let the audience know right there, like, oh, this is not going to go like every other shonen story goes, where you'd be like, oh, okay, he's going to just be okay. Like, oh, no, this motherfucker could actually die. And even though he won the fight, I made it to where he still lost, if that makes sense. Like, he still got the shit beat out of him. And we have to see how he's going to deal with that the next book, whenever I decide to get off my ass and work on that again. But there's so many things I think I did change. I was still kind of like tied to like what Trey wrote in the first draft of it, and then I was kind of, when I came on as an artist, there were things I was reading the script and I'm just like, can we change this? Can we change that? And there were so many changes that I was making that they were like, let's just make him the co-writer, because there were good changes, but I was always like, hey, before I made a change, I was like, hey, I want to do this. You know, I pitch it to like Johnny because it's his story at the end of the day. I'm like, yo, can I do this to the, you know, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
You didn't leave Johnny leaving you the way that you felt with D-Art after everything.
No, like my thing was with Exo, there's such a pressure because one, it was my first serialized work, and two, it was like I really wanted it to be good, so I believed in the story. I hated Darius at first. I hated his character so much. I was just like, oh my fucking god, I fucking hate this character. Like, why is he, you know? And then he grew on me. The more I started to kind of pour myself into the character, and the more I was able to like kind of have more say as to how certain things went, he started to really mold into a more interesting character for me. And it was just kind of fun to torture him a little bit, like, because it's boring if he's not going through anything. Like, there's some stuff that like was an original script that I'm just like, there's no way that it's gonna be like that. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. You don't meet this girl and then she has a hot for you and you have a hot for her, and she's like, no, we're writing that out completely. Like I changed so much stuff to make it more grounded, and there's parts in the manga that weren't even in the script. There's shit that I would just be like, yo, we gotta break this up and, you know, give it some breathing room. Because I want to film. So, like, that last fight was only going to be like one chapter, and I was like, we're gonna extend that. Like, this whole book has been talking most of the part. We're gonna give them a fight. God damn it!
Yeah.
So I did what I could. Now the second book, like the next book, I think I'll have way more say in it, because they think they kind of trust me, and I want the second book to center more around K-Bash. Yeah, like, that's where I want the second book to go, so highlight his story. And I'm gonna shut up now.
Oh no,
that was good stuff. Royal City.
No, I mean, I enjoy what you're saying, definitely. You know, I just have two last questions. I'm gonna kind of try to combine them in one so the end doesn't kill me on this video and we don't have a whole crime scene going on. So of course we know a lot of times people ask you about your art influences. You know, they'll ask you, like, and I know you've said Oliver Coipel's one. You've said also said that Takeshi Obata, you know, Katsuhiro Otomo, Sarah, you know, Peachly. What I want to know, though, because I feel like this isn't really talked about enough, who are your writing influences? Like, who motivates you as a writer? And also, what is your end game as a creative?
Oh man, now you. Okay, writing influences.
That's my final questions.
Um, Scooby Oba, the writer of Death Note and Bakuman and stuff. I love how he writes things. Ooh, man, this is really tough now because I mean I don't want to be a super edgelord and say like, oh, George R. R. Martin, but it's because it's I do like his approach on writing. I like certain directors like Yoko Taro from Nier. I love how he writes things and how he directs things and how he works backwards for certain things on his stories. Stephen King, I could say Stephen King definitely has an impact on how I write certain
In the
things.
Horror Avenue?
Yeah, and how he deals with coming of age stories. I kind of like. Who else? Wait, but then there's also really old literature that I like too. Like how stuff that's like really pretentious shit, like Paradise Lost and the fucking the Bible. Like just stuff that's like what I mean, like things like that. It's like she's also influenced by that, but it's more so. I like biblical stories simply because of like the moral of certain stories, certain passages, and it's like, and this is why you shouldn't be a cunt. Oh, okay, got it. You know what I mean? I like there's certain things where it's just like, oh, I see the lesson here. I get that. Just on a moral, basis, not on so much like religious or spiritual, but just like some stories. I'm just like, oh, noted. Okay. You ever have moments where, not to like segue this, you ever have moments where you read scripture, you hear a passage in the Bible, and you hear something that happens, and it's kind of funny, and then like you keep reading it, and you're like, oh, this isn't meant to be funny. This is actually really,
really dark in the way that it's going.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was something with. Okay, what was it? Kings? Was it Kings 1 or 2? Oh God, I can't remember what happened.
It's kind of how I feel about sometimes with the story of Job. Like when Job's boys were trying to tell him, "This must be something you're doing." He's like,
Is it when somebody damned out their clothes and then got some flack for it, and then he said something, and the other person got messed up for like first it's funny, and then it's like, oh no, that shouldn't have done that. Or I know in oh my gosh, is it Ezekiel? Is it Ezekiel or is it? No, it's not Ezekiel. I think it's also in Kings. Yeah, it's also in Kings. Is it with Elisha? Where he's like, walking and someone's like kind of like picking on him, like, oh, where's your covering? Or they're like making fun of him and just kind of like roasting him or whatever. And he just like turns and is like, if you don't leave me alone, like a bear is gonna come out of the which is eat you or some shit. And it's like, and then it comes out and attacks them. And it shouldn't be funny, but anyway,
the irony behind it. No, I get what you're saying.
But there's other stuff too, like films really. Like I like if you were to ask me about directors, that'd be a different story. I could go on directors that I really like. Okay, you asked me what writers influenced me, and then there was something else. There was another part to that you asked me.
And this is the final question. I wish I had more time because honestly I wanted to ask you about like rivalries. I wanted to ask you about a whole slew of stuff, but yeah, like I want, but I know we don't have enough time for that. So I'm just gonna end it with this. What is your end game as a creative?
Okay. That was the other part. My end game is like, I'm always funny about this because I'm like, I don't want to say, because if I say, then someone's gonna be like, well, I gotta try to beat him at that. I gotta. So I'm like, fair enough. I'm gonna let you guys. Yes, like I'm not gonna tell you. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I have so many things that I want to do. Like, in terms of like working with video game companies and having my own company one day, and all of those types of things. But it's always changing. My goals are always changing based on new information that I get, if that makes sense. Like I may think like, oh, case in point, oh, one day I want to really, really, really work with Shonen Jump or something on Shonen Jump. Oh, I don't actually have to do that. Okay, well, I'll adjust to something else. Like I'll just publish it a different way, or I'll release it a different way, or distribute it a different way. The goals are constantly changing, but there is a goal. Like I do want my stuff to be animated one day. I do want the clothing line. People always ask me, "Are you going to design clothes?" I'm like, "Yeah, I would like to do that at some point." There are a lot of things that I.
So you don't have any involvement with the like the Nami wear or whatever that I think Noir
Not
Caesar had?
not particularly. Like I've worked with them, and I've worked with like the Sukaban, on like designing shirts, but I don't actually design those clothes. What I do is I might draw like an illustration, and they may put it on a shirt. But Nami wear, they haven't like outright asked me to like design something for them yet. I think Johnny just probably hit me up to do like a T-shirt design for like maybe Exo-Genesis, but they don't really take advantage of me like they should.
I guess that was you firing back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now, by any chance, can we see what you're working on there? I'll be like, you've been working on it the whole time. I'm just curious.
I honestly was just like drawing lace and like this little head wrap. Like nothing super complicated. You probably can't even see this. Like it's just, yeah.
Is it right for us to see this?
Yeah, it's literally just, it's just this. Yeah, that's all I was doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing super complex. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you think I was going to show you what I was really drawing? No, you crazy? I'm not gonna do that.
I don't know why. Like I was thinking, I'm like, he's probably got like some massive like spread like
crazy thing that I'm drawing, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna show them that. I'm gonna get in trouble. So.
Oh my goodness. With that being said, guys, I think we're getting ready to close this whole thing out. Now, before we do that, couple things. Make sure you subscribe to Shining Otaku, of course, so that you can follow any of the upcoming interviews. But more importantly, because we have Nick Ivey here, are there any projects that you have coming out aside from the one you can't mention that people should be on the lookout for? Like,
Dreamvesper and this other project called Gustav that I'm working on too. Just those two really, Gustav and Dreamvesper.
Where can they follow you at?
Oh, you can find me on my Instagram. Just Nikolas Draper-Ivey, all one word, NIKOLASDRAPEVR. Well, did I spell that right? NIKOLASDRAPERIVEY. There we go. It's a mouthful. I was like, did I just spell that shit right? I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But they'll link you, obviously. TikTok won't let me fucking put my actual name on there. The bastards, because it was like, I guess because it has the word like rape in it, and it's like it's Draper-Ivey.
Oh wow!
I'm
like, no, how dare you join this site with that language?
I was like, it's my fucking like, it already put a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, no one can fucking find me on this shit because they can't use my actual name, you bastards. So yeah, but anyway, I hope that helps. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on my website. I think that's where I'm going to put my comic. I'll probably put it on my website when I release it for like free, so you can like read it. At least the first chapter or something. Something to hold people over. My goal for the release date is somewhere around the September-October range for like the chapter for like Dreamvesper, because that's like, I'm being realistic with myself about the amount of time it will take for me to draw and write all this stuff, and how I want it to look. So I think I always feel like September and October is like a good time for me to release things. I mean, I was born in September, but still. September is just like the right time to release stories.
September is such a great month, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a great time to release shit like that. Like I think came out in September. I think they pushed the new Candyman movie to come out in September. September is just like that vibe.
I know September is such a great month. Like I love September.
Are you born in September?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like it's such a great month.
Yeah.
It's a crap month.
Yeah, of course. I'm like, it's funny. I wasn't even supposed to be born in September, but I ended up being. So I win. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
As I said, guys, I know the next interview that we have, I believe, is going to be with Gabe Kunda. He's a voice actor in the industry. So definitely make sure you guys check that out when it comes out. It should be not next week, but the week after. So 2 weeks from now on the 18th? Is that the 18th?
2 weeks.
Double check. Yeah, it's the 18th.
Yeah, the 18th. So it's 18th. It's going to be 10 p.m. Gabe Kunda is going to be on here. We're going to be talking to him, chopping it up, talking about the industry, of course. I definitely appreciate, all the insight you gave today, Nick, on, the industry, your perspective on everything. As I said before, I wish we could have got into a lot of other topics too, but, of course, the time did not permit.
So,
but it's not to say in the future, we can't revisit it at some point, maybe further down the line. So
definitely.
In any case, guys, thank you guys for watching. Check out some of the other content that we have on the channel, some of the other videos that we have. And of course, when the website is back up, because the website's going through maintenance this weekend, you can check out some of the other comics that we have on the website. We have a few other projects, Gods of Life. It's a manga that I've worked on. We have Exidio, Director. He's been on here before. That's a project that he's worked on. And Naraku Murder, another project. And we have another project coming out fairly soon, Callisto, if you guys can see that. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out the video, and make sure you guys follow everything that Nick is throwing out, and look forward to that in the future. See you guys later.
All right. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah. So all right, is that it?
We done?